Hyrule Warriors 2, the prequel edition. Hyrule Warriors 2, Ganon Returns. The Return of Ganon. Hyrule Warriors 2, The Adventures of Link. Hyrule Warriors 2, this time it's based on a game that's somehow even more overrated than Ocarina of Time. How could that be possible? Well, Ocarina of Time is overrated, but at least it's actually a good game. I think, what was my spicy take? I think I literally said, like, well, this game is automatically going to be better than Breath of the Wild was. Right away. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is going to be a better game, because at least it'll have good combat. At least it won't have fucking weapon degradation. I'm doing the demo because... fuck it. I'm not getting the main release for a while. I still don't have the definitive edition of Hyrule Warriors. Although that is the one to get, because it's got all the 3DS content on there that never made it to the Wii U version. I do think this is shaping up to be a better game than Hyrule Warriors 1 was, and sincerely, I do think it'll have more value than Breath of the Wild did. I like when the Musou... I like all the Musou spin-off games. Like the Gundam, the One Piece Musou, Berserk Musou, right? They're always really good, but the Musou, spin-off games that are a little bit on the weaker side, for me personally, are, the quote-unquote all-star ones, like the Warriors Orochi style, or Koei All-Star. The original Gundam Musou game, honestly. Those ones that are just, take all of the characters from across the franchise and just put them in some really shitty, fanficky original plot. Those are always really lame, to be honest. The original Gundam Musou is the best example of that. I get it, you want to take, your all-star cast of characters from all across the franchise and have them all be in the game and in the story. And what's the story you come up with for that?
I must protect.
Oh god, Zelda's fucking alleged voice actor. Oh, I thought he was gonna do Zelda's Lullaby. That would have been cool. All of these different, Gundam fucking characters come together and just fight for no reason because there's a big, giant, evil Gundam who's being an asshole. And it's just so paper thin. I like the Musou adaptations or spin-offs that are actually adapting the story of the game, of the franchise that they're from. Gundam Musou 3. I don't know why this doesn't have voice acting. The self-insert fanfic guardian, quote-unquote. The self-insert fanfic robot who's here to give us non-canon endings. Do you want a non-canon as fuck ending? Well, here's our excuse. Yeah, it's very evident that, that ending of this game is gonna be it leads into Breath of the Wild, but then you're gonna unlock the romance version of the ending that has, Link fucking Mipha or something like that. I like Gundam Warriors 3 or One Piece 3. Yeah, One Piece Musou 3, which just adapt the story. Playing as Amuro, fighting Chur. So, I liked Hyrule Warriors 1, but it did have that problem of being really fanficky. Like, let's take all these characters from different Zelda games and throw them together in some really shitty original plot that's bad.
The years have passed quickly since
And it just exists to be fan service.
yes, we have unearthed the divine beasts.
So, a Hyrule Warriors game that's
But a barricade
being a prequel
will protect us.
to Breath of the Wild, and it's only Breath of the Wild. It's like focused on being
Even now, the enemy is
a Breath of the Wild story,
for Hyrule.
and not, oh, let's figure out a way to make Midna and Ruto and
Thus will begin
Tetra and all these other characters, and also like the original generation, like generic Link and generic Zelda, who are just like the platonic idea of a Zelda and Link, and not actually from any specific game. You can get a lot more value out of having a focused story that's, okay, the Link from Breath of the Wild, the Zelda from Breath of the Wild, doing the story, like the events that take place before Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild really did leave itself open for that, because it did have that whole kind of idea of all the cool shit happened before the game started. All the actual interest, all the story took place before the game started, and now you're just... I had a lot of problems with Breath of the Wild, to be honest with you. Oop, fuck. And one of them was that, like, okay, I missed out on the game. Like, Breath of the Wild is one of those things where, like, yeah, it's fine. It's a good game. I liked it. I liked playing it. I don't know what the game you guys played was, because the game you guys played sounded a hell of a lot better than the one I did. Like, the amount of fucking overratedness of Breath of the Wild is so ridiculous, because it's still a good game. It's just really, it wasn't that good. Like, I heard people going like, it's the only game I've ever played that's like almost an 11 out of 10. Like, no game that exists, no game with weapon degradation deserves to be an 11 out of 10. I'm sorry. If your game has weapon degradation, you are automatically capped at 7. You do not get to say that this game is anything higher than a 7 out of 10 if it has weapon degradation as a primary gameplay mechanic. Okay? Fuck you. It also had really, actually fucking bad combat. Like, I don't know how you fuck up Zelda combat, but Ocarina of Time had better combat than Breath of the Wild did. And Ocarina of Time barely had directional-based inputs. Wind Waker's still probably the Zelda game that has the most expansive combat. Can I pick this up? Didn't seem like it. I can cut this down. Oh, look at that. I can chop down a tree without the fucking sword breaking. Imagine that. Imagine the very fucking concept of that. I know you could argue, like, well, it's not... Okay, so, like, the press the swing your sword button, lock onto the enemy, swing your sword, quote-unquote, combat is limited, but that's because the sandbox gameplay, the open, expansive amount of options that you have to engage with with the interactables in the game, like the amount of tools that you have and the amount of options that provides you to interact with the toys, which are the enemies, in the sandbox, is so outrageously expansive. Like, if you watch the video Donkey did on Breath of the Wild, where he's just dicking around in Moblin camps, like, using the bomb and stasis to do crazy shit. Like, yeah, that's cool. I don't know why you couldn't have had that and also combat that doesn't suck ass. I feel like you could have had both of those. I feel like it was an either-or. Literally the only depth... Yeah, there we go. The only thing that Breath of the Wild had going for it was the Flurry Rush. The perfect dodge. The Witch Time fucking dodge capability. And, like, you just do that in every fight. And, like, the fucking input window for doing it was so inconsistent, but generous, that you can basically pull it off in every single fight against every single monster. Just do that every fucking time you have to do a fight, and then boom, it's over. There's, like, no depth to it. Just bait out a swing, dodge, hopefully within whatever the game decides is the active frame for the hurt box, and then do the the aura rush. It's harder to do in this game than it is in fucking Breath of the Wild, I'll tell you that right now. There we go. Just do that over and over again. And there's nothing else fucking to it. That's the optimal strategy.
Right.
There's barely any ever reason to do anything else ever. Until your fucking weapon breaks. That is just, like, the most ridiculously bad fucking thing about that game, and I don't know how anyone gives that game a pass. That's really cool. I like that the Koroks are still the hidden collectible throughout the different levels. You get their Korok poop as the... Instead of the gold Skulltulas from Hyrule Warriors 1, it's the Koroks. And their Korok poop. I don't know how anyone gave Breath of the Wild's fucking weapon degradation a pass. It was literally so fucking bad. Every video that's like, oh, it's fine though. No, it isn't. Shut up. I hate you. Like, it's always the weirdest dumb defenses that are like, well, if the weapons didn't break, then the fact that all of your rewards for, like, exploration or weapons would be less meaningful because you would never have to use those different weapons. Like, yeah, it's almost like they shouldn't have made the rewards for all of your exploration be weapons or something. It's almost like that was a bad decision. Like, it's this regressive fucking, like, backwards logic that they couldn't have just made the rewards something else instead. Like, I don't know, a heart piece. Like a Zelda game. Or like an empty bottle. Like a Zelda game. Or something that you would have in a Zelda game. No, it had to be different weapons that you're gonna swing twice and then never use it again. Because, well, this is too good, I can't use it because I'm just gonna hold on to this fire axe and just use that on everything because it's a shitty weapon that I don't care about. I'm just gonna not use this good weapon that I got as a quest reward because it's too valuable. It'll just... I can't ever use this quest reward that I got. Or this fire sword that I found at the top of a mountain. I can never use it. Because, well, it'll break. It's not even really a reward at that point. Oh, it's Canon Lolly.
You help!
Somehow both pre and post Loli. Ah, shit. My iPad. My Nintendo Switch. My Wii U game controller. Good reflexes. I do really like Link in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild Link is really good. Here's what's up with Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild is really good at one thing, and that's its open world. The open world in Breath of the Wild is quite possibly the single best open world that has ever existed in any video game ever. In terms of being the open world sandbox, it is 100 out of 100. Possibly 110. So, by that metric, when you're walking around Hyrule and discovering, like, see that mountain? You can climb it. It almost feels like the fact that they put a fire sword at the top of that mountain as, like, a reward for exploration cheapens it. The satisfaction of exploring and finding stuff should be intrinsic. They should have encouraged, like, a feeling of intrinsic satisfaction. Isn't there a, oh, the bomb. The fact that they felt a need to put in some kind of gameplay feature to be like, good job, you got up here. It kind of cheapens it, because the parts where that game is at its best is when you go to the secluded mountain forest next to a meteor like crater and find some weird crazy like spirit of the forest deer and like try and tame it and ride it. And you're like, holy shit, has anyone ever seen that? Or when you see the dragons flying around, the elemental dragons, and like you look at it, and everyone's like, "Whoa, that's some crazy shit." And you're like, "What is that?" Those are the moments where Breath of the Wild is at its best, where it encourages, instills this feeling of you found something, you found it, it's yours. This is yours now. You don't have to put a reward in for me exploring that location. The fact that I explored it and saw the cool shit that was there is the reward. The story that the player writes in like their own narrative of exploring the environment is the reward. That is the narrative experience. So that part of Breath of the Wild is 100 out of 100. Literally every single other thing about the game is really bad. Not even like okay, actively bad. The combat is atrocious. Even by Legend of Zelda standards, the combat is awful. The dungeons, of which there are 4, are not great because, like, say what you want about the formula of Zelda games, but the fact that they design the dungeons around knowing, okay, you will not have this item before you get to this room in the dungeon. Once you get to this room in the dungeon, you'll have this item, and you can use that to solve the puzzles in the other rooms and fully, like, master the dungeon. Like, that makes for good design. Those dungeons are really well designed in how structured and predictive they can be. It's why, in theory, like, this is a weird comparison, but in theory, it's the same reason that regenerating shields, like in Halo, became so ubiquitous to first-person shooters for a while. Because before we had regenerating shields and health, the level designers would have to balance, wouldn't, when they're designing a room or an encounter, they could not predict how much health the player would have by the time they got to that room. And depending on, you know, the game and the design philosophy, that could pose a problem, because how do you appropriately balance an encounter if you cannot predict how much health the player is going to have by the time they get to that room? The regenerating health solves that problem, because now you can balance every single room in the game confidently with the assumption that the player is going to have full health minimum when they get to that room. And that can make for, in theory, much more intentionally designed and effectively balanced encounters. It's a tool, and it comes down to how you use it, just like with anything. But that's the reason it became so attractive an option for first-person shooters for such a long time, and that's the same philosophy that allowed the dungeons in a Zelda game to be so tight as a drum. Because they know you're not going to have this item until you get to this dungeon. You're not going to get this item in this dungeon until you get to this room. So you can specifically craft all of the rooms and all of the puzzles in that game around knowing exactly what items the player will have and when they will get them. Compared to Breath of the Wild, where they because of how they chose to design the game, being so open, they had to give the player basically all of their relevant puzzle-solving items right at the beginning of the game. The plateau is the best designed part of the game. It's a very effective vertical slice for that reason. Because they knew that they could pace the progression of they could pace the progression of the players unlocking the tools, the Sheikah Slate tools, throughout the plateau. So they know, okay, they're unless they've played the game before and are sequence breaking, in which case this is irrelevant anyway, but they know, okay, they will not have the bombs yet until after they do this shrine. They know, okay, they will not have the magnetism until they do this shrine, and that allows the layout of the plateau to be much more specifically. There we go. Much more intentionally designed than almost any other area in the game. But after you get off the plateau, the player can literally go anywhere at any point in the game with no restriction whatsoever. You cannot predict where the player is going to go, or what the player is going to do, or what they're going to have when they get there. So they kind of had no choice. They had to design every single area in the game as if it was potentially the first area you ever went to. They kind of had no choice. Like, technically there was nothing stopping them from designing an area and being like, okay, this is just a wall. This is a brick wall. You cannot come here until after you do this and get that at this place, or whatever. But, I mean, like, it's a Nintendo. They probably did a lot of focus testing. That would have created more frustrating situations than it would have solved any design problems. Because if you like, position the game with this promise, this implication that you can go anywhere and do anything right from the get-go, which is what Breath of the Wild does, turning around and saying, no, you can't do that yet. You gotta go here first. You can't do this, and you have to come back here later, is probably just going to cause frustration for players. I mean, they made a big deal in the pre-release before the game even came out of pointing out, if you're good, like, it's gonna be hard as fuck, but you can go straight to Ganon's castle right at the beginning of the game as the first thing you do when you get off the plateau. If you watch speedruns of Breath of the Wild, like, they can be like 3 fucking minutes long, because they just fucking book it, sequence break the shit out of the plateau, and just get the hell out of there and go straight for Ganon's castle and just finish it immediately. And those are great, and that's fucking awesome. But, like, it made the fact, because of that design decision, even the final area of the game, even Ganondorf's castle, can't be impossible to beat with the basic naked Link that you get right out the gate at the beginning of the game after getting off the plateau. And if Ganondorf's castle couldn't do that, then no area in the game could be impossible. If the final area before the boss, with the ending hiding behind it, can't go away and to come back later, then nowhere else in the game could do that either. Which means you have to design every area in the game as if it's the first place the player went, just like the Hyrule Castle. They also had to design Hyrule Castle that way. That kind of kills the pacing and progression of your game. There's no sense of escalation. There's no sense of, oh man, shit's getting real, because it could have been the first place you went. It can't be better or, like, more crazy than anywhere else in the game, because you could have not gone to any of those other places yet, for all they know. And it just, it turns the entire game into a plateau, ironically, because it reaches a certain point after you get off the plateau. Well, actually, it declines to a certain point after you get off the plateau, and then that's just where the game stays for the rest of the game. So there's no escalation, there's no, like, sense of progression, there's no feeling of, like, oh, it's getting better and better. So the fact that the game's crippling fucking problems, such as the terrible combat and goddamn motherfucking weapon degradation, are just a constant fucking annoyance, it becomes impossible to overlook those things and be like, well, at least the experience of, you know, the new environments that I'm exploring is making up for that. Because I did Zora's Domain the very first fucking area that I went to, basically. Like, the first real area. And that was the peak of the game for me. Everything else was a letdown. I mean, Gerudo Town was also pretty cool, but that's for personal reasons. That's for the fetish reasons right there. That's for the reasons we can't talk about. Can't talk about on the family-friendly channel. Anyway, that's why all of the dungeons are fucking awful, is the point I was trying to make. Every single actual dungeon, like the Guardian Beasts, are all terrible, because they're all designed around you having all of your puzzle-solving tools from the instant you walk through the front door. So instead, they all have to be based around these asinine fucking, like, environment manipulation gimmicks, like needing to lift the elephant's fucking trunk up and down, or the salamander walking across certain places on the volcano, and just weird dumb shit like that. Or the air currents on the bird. Whatever. And it's just so awful because, like, the idea, I guess, is that it's supposed to be like an environment puzzle, rather than a use these tools, like, to put the key in the hole kind of a puzzle. But they're bad. They're bad puzzles, though. They're bad environment manipulation puzzles, and I don't like them. And they're not very well designed, and not a lot of thought was put into them. So all of the dungeons are atrocious, and then all of the shrines are fucking awful, too. Because, again, every shrine had to be designed at... First of all, even the best shrines are really fucking bad. But every shrine had to be designed with the idea that it could have been your first shrine. Which means, again, there's no sense of progression. The first shrine you ever go in could be like a... I know... Could be a, like, a super difficult, like, champion, combat challenge, right? Whoop, whoop. There we go. And that like super difficult hard Guardian challenge has to be beatable by someone like who theoretically is right out the gate of the plateau. I saw like a video that recommended this idea of like they should have oh, these are fire. Since every shrine, like, has the same entrance, they could have had every shrine just load an instance. So you could have had, like, a pool of beginner shrines, intermediary shrines, and then difficult shrines. Impa's gameplay is fucking weird and in-depth. It's hard to get a handle on. Because it's all about like building up these the symbols. It's hard to figure out necessarily right out the gate. Oh yeah, do the Naruto moves. There we go. Yeah, look at that fucking shit. There we go. Yeah, once she has the full symbol absorption, that really allows her to, like, do the crazy fucking ninja shit. She's really fun to play with. I don't know how she might compare to, Impa from Hyrule Warriors 1. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good time. And then, boom, got all three. Now you can just do some fucking crazy shit. Witness me, fucker! Oop. Oop. Might die. Does not do a lot of damage, but it looks cool. That's all that matters.
Steel yourself. I am ready. It's time. Sure.
Badass. Yeah, I helped you out. Don't worry about it. I got you back. I'm gonna be like 100-year-old Loli in the future. Don't be a creeper. Don't be a creeper, Link. Don't be a creeper to the 100-year-old Loli. Anyway, Breath of the Wild had its problems, and I don't understand why it was so overhyped. Like, it's a great game if you look at it as a, you know, sandbox almost like a walking simulator. Like, that game would actively be improved if every enemy in the game was removed. If someone someone modded Breath of the Wild to remove all the enemies in that game, and it was just the open world, it would be actively better. You cannot improve Breath of the Wild by adding things. It can only be improved by removing things.
I hate to say it, but we have little hope of figuring this out on our own.
Remove the shitty combat. Remove the weapon fucking degradation.
What are you? No! Stop right there!
Just have the open world and the genuinely interesting progression of how it unveils its story.
Each of you has served your kingdom.
And again, everything of Breath of the Wild story is backstory. You're learning shit that already happened 100 years ago. You're coming into the story after the actual Zelda game is over.
I'm glad you're safe, Impa.
God, your English voice acting is
And I received the key to
atrocious. Ooh.
What is that?
You'd think it would have gotten better. You would have thought it would have gotten better, but it did not. It's still really bad.
The Sheikah slate conveyed the little guardian's purpose.
I still remember that E3 trailer, I think it was, where it's like Japanese Zelda wails with like the broken heart of her entire future being torn apart around her. English Zelda sob. Like side by side, that fucking voice acting comparison of Japanese Zelda.
The guardian.
English Zelda.
The mysterious.
It really says it all. The fucking English voice acting in Breath of the Wild was horrible. At least Sean's in here, though. Sean? I never know how to pronounce it. S-E-A-N. Our boy Sean. I think it's Sean, right? How do you pronounce that? Sean Connery just died. I'm recording this on the day Sean Connery was announced to be dead. So. Sean. Sean Chiplock. I'm going with Sean. I'm sorry. At least our boy Sean gets to be in this game and be the feathery bird boy. He gets to be the Falco. We got our boy I already fucking forgot. Sean. We got our boy Sean in the game and he's gonna be our Falco. Oh, that's gonna be so exciting. That'll be one reason to get this game, is get to hear our boy. We're gonna play as him. Also, Mipha. I'm excited to play as Mipha, honestly. She was the best. Although it is sad because of the timeline. Sidon is not going to be playable. Maybe DLC in the future, who knows. That'd be cool. But unfortunately, because of the timeline, Sidon is not going to get to be playable. I did think this was kind of cool, how instead of it being a linear level selector, it's the map, and you have to select the different battles that you want to take place in on the map. I thought that was pretty cute. Like, the fact that Breath of the Wild had such a, like, the open worldness was the best part about it. So the fact that they incorporated that element into the Muso style gameplay, I thought that was a pretty cute way to go about it. There it is. There's my girl. They're my girl and my boy. And they're brother and sister. Oh man, dude. I wonder if there's gonna be a level in Korok Forest. I imagine there must be, considering that's where the Master Sword is. Worst Master Sword in the entire fucking series, by the way. Yeah, gotta love a Master Sword that can fucking break. Oh, it regenerates. Yeah, regenerates from being broken. Yes. It's the reformation argument. Oh, it's not Fatal Vor because there's reformation. Reforming from what? Dying! Therefore it's fatal. Oh, it's not, it doesn't break because it regenerates. It regenerates from what? Being fucking broken. Exactly. Fuck you. Awful. Awful Master Sword. God damn you, Breath of the Wild. And all that you do.
I knew I could do it.
Yeah, so potentially this game really stands like this game, like it's on the broken back of fucking Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors 2. This game stands poised to be a really good Muso game and a really good Zelda game. It can take the best of both worlds. It can take what really worked about Breath of the Wild, such as it is, and expand on the things it had that it couldn't really pay. How am I trying to say this? It can actually give it a good story. it can give the fucking characters some goddamn screen time, and not be a game about trying to figure out what happened back when interesting things were going on. This is the interesting thing. This is the interesting thing that happened, and now we're seeing it instead of, oh hey, some cool shit happened. You don't get to do it though. And it can benefit from being a Muso game and thus having some actually good fucking combat. Imagine the very notion of combat in a fucking Zelda game. Not sucking. Yeah, good. You always want to get anything that increases your EXP gain is automatically the best thing to go with.
Zelda, curious about the diminutive guardian, decided to accompany Impa on her journey to Pura's research facility in Hateno. With Link acting as bodyguard...
You know, I don't like her English voice actor, but that's not Zelda's fault. It's not Zelda's fault that she has a bad English voice actor. The Breath of the Wild Zelda does stand as one of the better Zeldas in the series. Probably second only to Tetra. I mean, Wind Waker's just the best Zelda game, hands down, so everything gets measured against that. But I mean, she's definitely one of the better Zeldas. I mean, that's not a high hurdle to jump or anything, but she's real cute. She's got character depth. I like that she's got the white dress. Like the classic, the NES era white dress going for her. Not right now, obviously, but...
Why is it so attached to me?
Look at how short Link is, by the way! That's not perspective! God, her voice acting's bad. Look at that, that is not perspective! Link is just short.
I suppose all we can do is wait for Robbie and the others at the lab to analyze.
Hold on. Relationship goals. Look at that. That is the perfect size difference right there. Look at that. Get you a man who can do both.
It.
Agreed, Your Highness.
He is just a short person. Uh-oh. That sound is gonna, like, cause heart palpitations. Yeah!
A guardian? But why?
But why? Let's roll. I like that Link has the confidence to rock that earring. Probably one of the better Links, too, to be honest. And this game really gives him the opportunity to be like, holy shit, this Link was a badass. Man, that's one of the things I'm most excited about for this when this game comes out is when you go to Zora's domain. Because that was like literally the best part about Breath of the Wild is when you go to Zora's domain and all the Zoras are like, holy shit, Link! Hey buddy, what's up? And you're like, oh my god, Link was like friends with the Zora. He hung out with them. They were his buddies. All of the Zora know who he is, like on a first name basis. And like because of the time skip, a lot of them are like, oh hey, I remember being friends with you when I was a kid. Nice to see you again. But the fact that the fucking like Zora were Link's like posse was such a cool like literally that was like the peak. That was the gameplay peak for me. You had Sidon, who was just the sexiest man. You had Mipha, who was just the sexiest man. You had all the Zora, like, that really, like, gave me high expectations. Like, that might be one of the reasons I was like, that's the thing. Like, that's the best the game had for me. And it was all downhill from there. Because Zora's Domain was, like, such a great fucking, like, interactive narrative discovery experience or whatever. And nothing else came close. Nothing else could like measure up. Again, the second like the runner up was Gerudo. And like once you got past the novelty of femboy Link in drag, which, to be fair, that's not something easily gotten over, right? That is entirely fair to say. I don't know how you can say once you get over that, because there's no getting over that. Fair enough, you're not wrong. You're not wrong to say that, and I do agree with that conclusion. But, once you get past the novelty of femdom Gerudos and cross-dressing Link, there wasn't much to it. Like, yes, they're a femdom culture of let's get us some man candy, but also Amazon femdominess. But they just didn't have the specialness of all the Zora going, hey, Link, our buddy, what's up? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. So I'm looking forward to, in this game, when, like, levels at Zora's Domain start being available, and seeing, like, what the interactions during that level is. Like, the fact that Link has, like, a history with the people of Hyrule. Like, he's an established figure. He's not just, you know, your boy. He's not just your boy from the forest or from the farm. He's a known, recognized figure who's been trained as a member of the court from birth. That's really interesting. That's a much better way to do your Link compared to what we've had in the past. Come on. Okay, so here we go. So, in case you were worried, this is immediately the first thing I tried to do. Yeah, boy! Oh, that feels good to do! Yeah, so you can, and I did it just to prove that I could. I tried killing the Guardian mono e mono, and you can do it. It is possible. It's really tedious and not worth it. You can whittle away at its health bar and wear it down and destroy it. Like, with your own bare hands. And reduce its life bar entirely with what you have. It is possible. But it is not worth it. It is not worth it whatsoever. Oh god. So, not gonna bother doing it this time. Whoa, we recovered real fast from that. I know, let's try gameplay contrivance. Yeah. Do Neon Genesis Evangelion fucking, Yeah, you do, like, such chip damage that it's not worth it at all. Even while it's, like... Oh, fuck. Even if you get its, little weak pie chart there worn down all the way, the amount of damage you do is not worth it. It is possible, though. Don't let no one tell you it ain't. Eat shit, fucker. Where am I going? Am I going? Up here. I have lost track of what I'm doing. Yeah, so like, maybe it's a spicy take. Some people will surely accuse it as such, but sincerely, I think this game is actually going to be a lot better than Breath of the Wild was. It's not going to have, give me a version of Breath of the Wild that has no enemies in it. That it's just a completely, peaceful, serene world with no hostile enemies in it whatsoever. And that is the ideal Breath of the Wild experience. Give me the Breath of the Wild trappings with actually good Muso-style gameplay. And that is the ideal gameplay experience for Breath of the Wild. Because, holy shit. Holy shit. My boys. The boys. Anyway. This demo's only 2 levels. Once this level's over, that's it. That's the demo. No Mifa. No Sean. Shone? I already fucked it up. It's not Scene. It's not Sheen. Sheen. He plays Sheen in Bedfellows. That's why it's confusing, okay? He did the voice acting for Sheen and, Fatigue in Bedfellows. That's why it's confusing to me. His name is S-E-A-N, and he played a Sheen. That's my excuse. Oh shit. He's got a lightning. Fuck your lightning. I'm wearing a metal armor too. I'm gonna conduct the electricity. Oh. Fuck you. Oh, missed. Ah, how does it feel to be struck by lightning by getting tricked into picking up a metal sword, fucker? Yeah, that was a fun thing to do. in your Breath of the Wilds. Even like exploring an environment and like getting a Korok seed almost seemed cheap, depending on the context. Nope. Not want to accidentally fall down there. Here we go. Do it. I guess theoretically you can avoid having to do all this by just fighting it yourself, but... Yeah, I tried to, just, kill the Guardian. And I did it before unlocking Zelda as a character.
I'm on my way.
So I didn't so like I unlocked playing as Zelda after finishing the level, but I didn't actually play as her during the level. It was pretty funny. That is cute. That is a cute idea to, doing her gameplay. Is having her using the Sheikah Slate to just do all of those different powers. You know what? Maybe she's not the best Zelda after all, because she can't become Sheik. If you don't have a if you can't be Sheik, then are you even really the best Zelda after all? Perhaps you're not. Perhaps you're not after all. You gotta be able to be Sheik in order to be the best Zelda. Well, tell me what to do. Ha! Good timing. Oh, what the fuck, you generico. Fucking soldiers are obstructing the cool scene. God damn you. I can't watch Guts do the cool fucking spin attack of his giant fucking sword with y'all standing in the way. Oh, fuck. Yeah, well, how do you like it? Eat shit. Damn. Zelda, you getting fucked up. Zelda, stop getting your shit rocked. Ah, that's cute.
Every way I can. Despite the odds.
Weaponized selfies. Figures. Zelda would do weaponized selfies.
If I must. Indeed. Get back.
Oh. That's a good idea.
If I must. Now this. Get back. Get back. Halt.
There we go. Just doing all three. I don't know, like, because of the story, maybe, hopefully, after, like, getting one of the non-canon endings or something, you unlock a version of Zelda who has her divine powers unlocked, and it's not just her using the Sheikah Slate. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to get to play as a Zelda who is capable of holding back Ganon, right? Like she is in Breath of the Wild. With the white dress, basically. White dress Zelda. Also, Lolita Impa. No, that's not. That is definitely not going to be a character. Witness me.
A worthy adversary.
Well, where is it? Oh, it's over here. Come at me, fucker. Where's the Link at? You. Get over here. I do like how the, like, the evolution of the Musou game, like, the Musou spin-off games becomes this, like, iterative process.
Steal yourself.
Because the, changing to a different character in the middle of battle, like, originated in another like spin-off Musou game, and then you have the giving your fellow player characters orders and tell them where to go on the battlefield. That has shades from the Fire Emblem Musou game. Oh yeah, she's doing the Naruto run. That's cute. So you can chart you can chart like the development of these mechanics being experimented with and developed throughout the various Musou spin-off games that preceded it, not just necessarily Hyrule Warriors 1. Come at me, bitch. And you did. I like how it's just canon that Link can't talk. Like, that's part of his character. And, yep, just the weak-ass Mortal Kombat jab to finish it off. Yeah, so if you kill it single-handedly without doing all that, if you just whittle away at its life bar, you just get, it just goes straight into this cutscene. I did like the suggestion of like, Link is like an established member of the court. Oh no, Nazi! It's the evil version of BB-88. The idea that like Link is an established like member of the court, like he was raised from birth to be this cool guy, like knight of the realm. And he and everyone went, "Oh my god. That guy's really cool. He's really badass. Look, he did the cool thing. He beat the shit out of those guys. Wow." Let Link be like Zelda's the princess's personal bodyguard, because that's how badass he is. Like, he earned that spot by just being that cool.
Which are amplified by the power of such ancient relics, are but a meager fragment of such technology.
I see. That explains why all of us were able to use the Sheikah Slate.
In addition, This here doohickey is loaded with data. Information. We can't even fathom.
Oh, yeah. Check it.
Oh! She's the lowly.
I extracted some visual data from the Guardian's memory.
Is that...
It was her.
Yup, no doubt about it. Hyrule Castle after Calamity Ganon has been revived.
It was her
As you
all
can see,
along.
we managed
Yeah,
to
sorry,
extract
Impa was the
some
old
data,
lady.
much of it
She's
was
the
found.
lowly.
Even
It's been a
so,
while and it was a forgettable
I
experience. What do you
see,
want from me?
Maybe a sense of more of it.
This is the ruin the Calamity will bring upon all of Hyrule. If we
So good
lose
voice actors were an option, and they kept her on
Even
purpose.
everything we've done up until now likely won't be enough.
If I don't succeed,
You had Michael Jackson there being a decent ass voice actor, and then you're gonna cut to this lady.
this will not come to pass.
Can I get an option to, like, have custom voice tracks? Like,
stop Calamity,
I want Sean, I want Sean's character to be voiced by Sean. I want Ravioli, Falco to be voiced by Sean. I want to hear Sean's voice acting.
was the land.
I do not want to hear English Zelda. English Zelda is bad. I don't like her voice acting. It's bad.
Korok Forest, where the legendary sword slept, had been overrun by monsters. And the
I want to
princess
hear
and
Japanese
Falco
Zelda,
shared
but I want to
the
hear
secrets of
English Ravioli.
Lamenting the kingdom's plight, King Rome sent his daughter to gather pilots for the divine beasts. Alongside Link, whose brave conduct had...
Oh, that happened off
as
screen.
her knight,
It's fine.
Zelda would meet with
Dude, this guy was so badass. You get to pal around with the princess now.
You intend to let this relic follow you around?
This self-insert fan fiction?
Yes. After talking to Pura and Robbie, we thought it would be best.
I will remind you once again.
That you have
Above all
expectations burdening your fucking mind.
Are we clear?
I'm giving you actual depth as a character by being a bad parent. You should appreciate it. A lot of Zeldas don't even have character. A lot of Zeldas are one-dimensional damsels in distress, so appreciate that I'm giving you some character depth. Bitch. Go learn how to be the reincarnation of a retcon. I didn't like Skyward Sword, but I do gotta admit, the area of the map in Breath of the Wild that's like the resurrection of Demise, or like the place, like it's named after Demise, and it's like some dead, scarred landscape of like fuckery, is one of the cooler areas in the game, where I'm like, oh fuck, this is the place that Demise like rose from. And everything is just dead. Yeah. Let's go... Where is it? It's like around here somewhere, I believe. I can't zoom in that close on this map. I think it's... somewhere. Anyway, so demo over, but... this is obviously the first thing I'm gonna be doing. Gotta get me the fish people. Gotta get the fishy boys. Maybe Sidon will be in the cutscene and he'll be an adorable Shota fishy boy. Gotta get that fishy boy. And then, obviously, you gotta get your boy Sean. Ravioli. Rivali the Ravioli boy. Shown. Whatever. And then, you know, the femdom. And then, the gay bara over here, etc. Anyway, that's the end of the demo, though. Can't go any further. No, I don't. Fucking god damn it. Anyway, yeah. So that's Hyrule Warriors 2, the game that is better than both of the games that it is following up from. I don't know. Whatever. Hot takes. Hot cakes.
You did well.
Release the Epona DLC.